Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2. All right, here we go again. Free run. That's how I do this thing. We'll figure out some more detailed production. But for now, free run. We're just gonna do it. As it come, I go. Okay, I'd like to welcome you all to the Asshole Podcast. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone got one, so I invite you to hear mine. But first of all, I think nobody on this joint actually heard my name. My name is Willie Prater, born in the District of Columbia, primarily raised in Montgomery County, Maryland. Ties to the district, but I rep that MoCo. Anyway, today we talk about whatever come to mind. But we're gonna start with what's probably the hottest thing in the buzzing right now, which is Joe Biden selecting Kamala Harris as his running mate for vice president. Here, I'm not going to speak too much about politics in particular, not because I'm afraid to, but more so, I haven't per se done all of the research that I would like to get into it in that type of specifics. We hear about Kamala being uh, not black, so to speak. Well, now I would say not black, but in my opinion, she isn't necessarily a black American. She is, as my grandmother would say, she's a foreigner. But technically speaking, by her genetics, right? Her DNA makeup, we would consider her to be a foreigner. She is of Jamaican and Indian descent. I say she's foreigner because she isn't black American. Uh, did not or did not or have not endured the same things that black Americans have in America. Historically, throughout the history of time, we cannot say that her bloodline experienced these things. So in some senses, we can say that it's not necessarily her struggle, which is why her track record for some would say that she never really was on our side to begin with, but against us. Because even as foreigners that are black in America, they come to America, and sadly, I witnessed them to be under the same uh, thinkings of whites in America. They view black Americans in a darker light. They view black Americans as slum, to keep it 100. They don't view us as, we're not Africans, we're not Jamaicans, we're not Trinidadians, we're not Caribbeans, we're not Indians, we're not wherever. We don't come from their country. We're not. They don't take us on as their own, so to speak. But genetically speaking, we all come from. We all originated from where the motherland of Africa. Africa, my people. All of y'all is from Africa. But back to the topic at hand, so to speak. Uh, Make it a little narrow topic, a more narrow topic than the more broader topic that I was going to jump into. So my grandmother used to always have a problem with foreigners because, like I said, she always said that they talked down about us. They didn't view us the same. They always talked about how their country is this and how their country is that. And as someone who per se necessarily don't have a country, it can be taken. Uh, it can be taken in a negative connotation. Um, but like I said, not to get into politics, not to get into politics at all. From what I heard from what I heard from Kamala, what I've seen from Kamala, I mean, like I said, man, her struggle ain't our struggle. Ain't never been, would never be it. So I don't hold her to the same to the same regard, so to speak, or I don't hold her to the same bar that I may have hold that I may hold someone else to, like a Nicki Minaj. I'm just gonna jump out there real fast like that, like a Nicki Minaj with her and the whole Takashi 6ix9ine shit. Hey, to each his own, but that was a bad ass move for real, for real. But whatever, you know what I'm saying. But I won't hold Kamala to the same regard as someone who actually struggle and someone relate to the actual lifestyle. You understand? I won't do it. But what I will say is she's not the worst. I'm sure that she's not the worst. She better than Hillary. I ain't gonna say, but you ain't hear from me, but you did hear from me. She better than Hillary. Like I said before, I wouldn't vote for Hillary if she was giving me the head that she wasn't giving Bill that made him go get that thing from Monica, you dig? But anyway, anyhow, she's not the worst. And what she does do is, just like our former president, Mr. Barack Obama, President Obama, the imagery that it projects to the black community, not only to the black community, but to the world, is of magnitude that we cannot argue. It is of magnitude that we cannot deny and say that it is not great and to our favor if we use it that way. It is impossible to say that. The imagery of it, hey, I know what people say. I know what people say, and like I said a few moments ago, to each his own. I'm not saying that you should give your vote to a black person just because they're a black person. I'm not saying that you should give your support to a black person just because they're a black person. You understand what I'm saying? It's like they say, all folks ain't your kin folks. Yeah, I dig it, and that's so many. That's so true to a lot of people in a lot of different positions in a lot of different ways. So I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to stick with the imagery. The only bad part about the imagery that I don't like is, to be blunt, the white man in front of the black woman or the picture of the black woman. You understand what I'm saying? That's what bothers me just a tad bit, especially when you give in consideration. She talked against him, and well, not against him, but she talked up, and she said she believed of these allegations that's held against Joe Biden uh, of sexual misconduct and different sorts. So just it's for it to make sense. It's a little trippy for me. You understand what I'm saying? But that's one thing about fiction, so to speak, and fiction doesn't necessarily have to make sense. It's just written. And if you really know what's going on in front of these cameras, in front of these media outlets, it's fiction. We're not getting the real story. We're not getting the real view, so to speak. We are getting what, like people say, I let you see what I want you to see. I let you hear what I want you to hear. That's what we get. And you got to understand these different things. But I do understand that you must play the game in order to have an effect on the game. There's no way to affect something if you don't play it. some way, shape, or form. And I was all over the place just a few moments ago, and I tried to bring it together before I cut on this camera and actually spoke my mind. But like I said, to each his own. Vote for who you want to vote for. But what we can do most as human beings, as individuals, as citizens, is be good to one another. Treat one another with dignity and respect. Treat one another the way that we want to be treated. Simple elementary shit. And if you want to be treated some fucked up kind of way, like I've always said, there's always exceptions to the rules, whether it be good or bad, and maybe that rule don't apply to you. It's always exceptions to the rules. Something I find a little funny, which my wife here, uh, uh, she found a bit interesting too. Something I find a little funny is I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying this for a while. Like I said, if you know, you know. I'm saying I find a lot of intrigue in Trump. But we about to see this motherfucker presidency get held up hostage. You hear? Trump about to hold the presidency hostage. You hear? hey look, hey look, we about to see some shit because like I said, we don't get the real picture. We don't get the real picture. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not Cat Williams. Sorry, Kevin Hart said one time when he first started making money, he was on the Breakfast Club. They was like, man, you getting money? He was just like, man, I'm just breaking the ice for real. Is what he was saying. He was saying, I'm getting enough money now where I'm starting to be in positions where they're opening up curtains where I can actually see real money. What we think is money, not even money. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get to a certain level just to see what's actually there. You understand what I'm saying? Like he said, he was just getting they've just opened up doors, showing him different shit, and he wasn't even there yet. If niggas like us, not like us, cause me in particular, I understand a little bit different, but see a little bit of flash, a little bit of shine, and think motherfuckers doing something. But what we see in this government of ours right now, in this fraternity that they have, it seems really like an internal war going on. Now we all know there's a red and a blue side, but it really seems like they are fighting amongst each other for some type of power, or not for some type of power, but for ultimate power. And I think it goes deeper than just red and blue in America. I think there are allies and enemies in the whole world. You understand? The whole universe. And I think what we feel is what we see right now is a shift in power, is a shift in change, nonetheless. And I think that's going on internally. I think that's why we see the Biden and the Kamala Harris coming together because the blue side, right? They trying to do anything and everything they can, or the side that ride with whatever's going on that way. They trying to do whatever they can to regain or refocus their power. While it seemed like Trump and his crew, or the folks that align with that red side, they on something totally different. Maybe not totally different, but it's vastly different enough that we are seeing internal struggle amongst our government, whether we realize it or whether we want to acknowledge it or not. Now, when I sit down and I do these rough podcasts, they're exactly that. I have yet to really give it much thought. I have yet to give it really much brainstorming and preparation. I really do kind of go off the fly, but I promise you, I will get better. I will articulate more. I will express different things more. And I will go a little bit deeper into what I'm saying, and I'll be less vague. But once again, if you know, you know. But like I said, like I said, Trump, like I said, I don't think he the worst. I don't think he the worst that's been in that position either. But I think he's the most open that's been in that position that we've seen, that we know. And that's one thing that a lot of people are saying, at least that we get from Trump, and that's what I've been saying even before. Even before, man, my man Marvin, rest in peace. He used to cut my hair. Man, Marvin used to talk about this shit, and Marvin used to be like, "Man, T, man, I don't know." And I be like, "Man, Marvin, this shit about to get interesting." He was like, "Man, what you mean fucked up? If you mean interesting by meaning fucked up, then yeah, it's about to get fucked up." But now I'm like, "Nah, Marvin, this shit's about to get interesting, man." I was like, first and foremost, I knew Trump had won when I seen Trump on TV. And he was with Ben Carson and I forget some other fucking clowns. And I was like, what is this? Some type of reality show? And my cousin was like, nah, this is the presidential debate. I'm like, for the United States of America? And he's like, yeah, I knew then Trump won. He wouldn't have been there. It kept coming. It wasn't like he was losing momentum. He was gaining. So it was a no-brainer that he was going to win. So those who that were surprised that Trump that won the election, back when was that? Where we at? About to go in 2020, 2016? When he won that election, those who are baffled or was baffled by it and are still baffled by it, get your head out your ass. Like, straight up, get your head out your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, use your own brain, use your own mind, use your own intellect, and use your own basic common sense. You understand? But, you know, that's why I go on that topic, and that's where I stand there. And I do want to touch on maybe a couple more things. One thing is, I don't like when people say if you don't vote, you don't count or you don't matter, you don't have a voice or this, that, and the other. Like I said, the best thing we can do for each other is be good to each other. Fuck a vote. Like I said, I understand. I vote. I've always stood independent. I've always stood independent since I was 18 years old. I've always stood independent. But fuck a vote, man. Like, it's the hearts of men. Raise your children right. You understand what I'm saying? Do your part in society. Do your part as an individual to society to better yourself, to those around you, the world that you live in. You understand what I'm saying? Like, don't get caught up in like, oh, go vote, like that's some type of magic button or some shit. Like, oh, I voted. Hey, I did my part. That's far from your part. That's far from your part. I can't even measure it. That's how small that shit is. I can't even measure it because pay attention. Like I said, we don't get the facts, we get the fiction. So pay attention. Pay attention. Like I said, use your voice if you choose to, because not only is that your born God given right, but as American, it's supposed to be your American right. So if your voice is to not voice your voice through not voting, then don't vote. And if you choose not to vote, I don't think you should be ridiculed for it. I think it's selfish of people to make someone feel bad for not entertaining falsehood in some senses or not partaking in something that they don't have no understanding of. So you it's just like a motherfucker shooting blindly. For that matter, you just want a motherfucker shoot blindly. That ain't helping shit either. But, like I said, to each his own. Be informed. Always be informed. And I ain't saying be informed by listening to what somebody is telling you. Fact check that shit. This day and time, it ain't nothing to go fact check something. It ain't nothing. Go do your own research. Yeah, but excuse me, but hey, you know, red, blue, they are part of the same crew, but it's a power struggle amongst them two. And whether we vote or whether we partake or not, them motherfuckers, as you see, are making it do what it do. We pawns in this shit, man. We pawns. Unless, like that meme say, unless we all just stand up and turn this motherfucker upside down, and I mean talking about really Armageddon type shit, we pawns in this shit. Asshole podcast. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone got one. and I invited you. Thank you for listening to mine. Give you a quick glimpse of the wife. Nah, actually, I'm not. Yes, I am. Look at her smile. Ain't she beautiful? Salud.